All right, let's keep up the math fun. So in this next question, let's read it carefully. We'll read the question sentence first, as always. All right, always read that question sentence first. And it reads, what is the final price, including tax? So right there, what is the final price? Again, final price, and that includes the tax. So my party people, if we were to use our formula, the percent times the original equals the result, knowing how this formula works, is it enough if we apply the 7% sales tax right there? Is that enough? 7% times $160. Is that enough to get us our final answer, everybody? Is that the key? The answer to that question is no. That's the answer. The answer is no. Because, everybody, remember your main idea when it comes to percent formulas. The main idea is the percent that you apply is the result that you get. I'm going to say that one more time, and then I'm going to really explain. The percent that you apply is the result that you get. So, everyone, when you think about it, if we were to plug in the 7%, that is our sales tax. And so, because this represents tax, the other side would represent tax as well. This side would represent tax. But everybody, are we looking for tax? Not only the tax, we want the final price, and that is the original price plus the tax, right? It's not just the tax itself that we're looking for that final cost. So that's what you have to get into your head before you calculate. So I'm going to show you two ways to calculate this, everybody. And both ways are going to come in handy at some point during your practice. So here, the first way is going to be calculate that 7%. But everybody, once we take and calculate that 7% and we find out what that number is, what do we do with the tax at the end? Remind me. What do we do with this tax once we have it? Yeah, we're going to add it with the 160 original price. So at the end, we would do 160 plus tax. So let me show you that way first. Then I'll double back and show you another way that, again, it could be longer, but it may help you out in problems where you work backwards. So here we go. 160 multiplied by 7%. 0 times 7. 6 times 7 is 42. Carry that 4. Then we have 1 multiplied by 7. Add that 4, and that's 11. So we have 1120, but we have to remind ourselves that, again, we have 2 decimal places, and so we'll bring those back. So that tax that we found is going to be $11.20, and so that's what we add to that 160 to get that final amount. And so once we add those together, we end up getting $171.20. So again, we have to add it back at the end. But there is another way to deal with this where once you start calculating, that's the only time you calculate. And that's going to happen when you take advantage of this formula. Again, everybody, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that right here. Hopefully, we can get some good light bulb moments out of this. Everyone help me out. What is the original amount in terms of a percentage? When you're talking about the original whole thing that you're discussing, what percentage represents the whole thing? 100%, exactly. So 100% is what we start off with, and that is the original cost. When it comes to discounts, everybody, we would subtract if we had a discount. But in this problem, we have a tax. And everybody, what operation does a tax do to the amount that you're paying? Yeah, it adds, exactly. It compounds on top. So we have, boom, addition, and we'll add the 7% tax. And everybody, what do we have when we add the original amount plus the tax? That's going to be the final amount. So 107%, that is your final cost. Because you're going 7% above the original 100. That's how that can be interpreted. So let me now take a moment. Let's move all of this down because we're going to give ourselves all the room that we need. And then you'll see what I mean in a second. So let me move this over there. And now let's go ahead and get to work here. So we'll have that 107% multiplied by 160. That is actually going to give us the final answer right away. It's going to be slightly longer, but you know it'll give you the answer right away. Let me show you here. First off, everybody, we're going to move that decimal place twice to the left. 1, 2. So this turns into 1.07 multiplied by 160. So you might notice that we have a 3-digit number multiplied by 3 digits, but it's not going to be that bad. 160, 1.07. Notice that you already have 2 zeros, so there's a lot of multiplication by 0. So you're going to be good. You're going to be fine. But let's get to it here. Let me move this over slightly. And one by one, here we go. 0 times 7, that's going to be 0. 6 times 7 is 42. Carry the 4. 1 times 7 is 7. Carry the 4 is 11. Next up, I'll go ahead and erase that 4. And I'll go over to the next line and start off with a 0. Here we go. 0 times 0. 0 times 6. 0 times 1. Next up, we'll have 2 zeros because we need to start where that 1 is for that place value. So now here we go. 0 times 1. 6 times 1. And 1 times 1. So as you can see, that wasn't that terrible, right? Wasn't that terrible. Yeah, sure, we're doing 3 by 3 digits. Nobody really wants to do that any day of the week, but it's not that bad when you look at tax problems specifically. Because when you add everything back up, we have 0, 2, 1, 1 plus 6 is 7, and then you have the remaining 1. How many decimal places are we bringing back again, everybody? We're bringing back 2. Yeah. So we bring those 2 decimal places back, 1, 2, 1, 2, and look at that. We get the correct final answer in one calculation. Instead of 2 separate calculations, we get it in one clean calculation. $171.20, which is answer choice D.